Vayikra 25 verse 1 through Vayikra 27 verse 34. And Yah Rafa spoke to Moshe on Mount Sinai, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you come into the land which I give you, then the land shall observe a Sabbath to Yahuwah. 6 years you sow your field, and 6 years you prune your vineyard, and gather in its fruits. But in the 7th year the land is to have a Shabbat of rest, a Shabbat to Yod Rafa. Do not sow your field, and do not prune your vineyard. Do not reap what grows of its own of your harvest, and do not gather the grapes of your unpruned vine, for it is a year of rest for the land. And the Shabbat of the land shall be to you for food, for you and your servant, and for your female servant and your hired servant, and for the stranger who sojourns with you, and for your livestock and the beasts that are in your land. All its crops are for food. And you shall count 7 Shabbats of years for yourself, 7 times 7 years. In the time of the 7th Shabbat of years shall be to you 49 years. You shall then sound a ram's horn to pass through on the 10th day of the 7th month on Yom HaKippurim. Cause a ram's horn to pass through all your land. And you shall Kodash the 50th year, and proclaim release throughout all the land to all its inhabitants. It is a jubilee for you. And each of you shall return to his possession, and each of you return to his clan. The 50th year is a jubilee to you. Do not sow nor reap what grows of its own, nor gather from its unpruned vine. It is a jubilee, Kodesh, for you. Eat from the fields its crops. In the year of this jubilee, let each one of you return to his possession. And when you sell whatever to your neighbor or buy from the hand of your neighbor, do not exploit one another. According to the number of years after the jubilee, you buy from your neighbor, and according to the number of years of crops he sells to you. According to the greater number of years, you increase its price, and according to the fewer number of years, you diminish its price, because he sells to you according to the number of years of the crops. And do not oppress one another, but you shall revere your Elohim. For I, Yod Rafa, your Elohim. And you shall do my laws and guard my right rulings, and shall do them, and you shall dwell in the land in safety. And the land shall yield its fruit, and you shall eat to satisfaction, and shall dwell there in safety. And since you might say, What do we eat in the 7th year, since we do not sow nor gather in our crops? Therefore I have commanded my barakah on you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth crop for 3 years. And you shall sow in the 8th year, and eat of the old crop until the 9th year. Eat of the old until its crop comes in. And the land is not to be sold beyond reclaim, for the land is mine. For you are sojourners and settlers with me. And provide for a redemption for the land in all the land of your possession. When your brother becomes poor and has sold some of his possessions, and his redeemer, a close relative, comes to redeem it, then he shall redeem what his brother sold. And when the man has no one to redeem it, but he himself becomes able to redeem it, then let him count the years since its sale, and return to the remainder to the man who sold it, and he shall return to his possession. And if his hand has not found enough to give back to him, then what was sold shall remain in the hand of him who bought it until the year of Jubilee. And it shall be released in the Jubilee, and he shall return to his possession. And when a man sells a house in a walled city, then his right of redemption shall be at the end of the year after it is sold. His right of redemption lasts a year. But if it is not redeemed within a complete year, then the house in the walled city shall be established beyond reclaim to the buyer of it throughout his generations. It is not released in the Jubilee. The houses of villages, however, which have no wall around them, are reckoned as the field of the country. A right of redemption belongs to it, and they are released in the Jubilee. As for the cities of the Levites and the houses in the cities of their possession, the Levites have a right of redemption forever. and that which is redeemed from the Levites, both the sale of a house and the city of his possession, shall be released in the year of Jubilee, because the houses and the cities of the Levites are their possession in the midst of the children of Israel. But the field of the open land of their cities is not sold, for it is their everlasting possession. And when your brother becomes poor, and his hand has failed with you, then you shall sustain him, and he shall live with you, like a stranger or a sojourner. Take no interest from him, or profit, but you shall revere your Elohim, and your brother shall live with you. Do not lend him your silver on interest, and do not lend him your food for profit. I am Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, to give you the land of Canaan, to be your Elohim. And when your brother who dwells by you becomes poor and sells himself to you, do not make him serve as a slave, but as a hired servant, as a settler he is with you, and serves you until the year of Jubilee. And then he shall leave you, he and his children with him, and shall return to his own clan, even return to the possession of his fathers. For they are my servants, who I brought out of the land of Mitzrayim. They are not sold as slaves. Do not rule over him with harshness, but you shall revere your Elohim. And your male and female slaves whom you have from the nations that are around you, from them you buy male and female slaves. And also from the sons of strangers sojourning among you, from them you buy, and from their clans who are with you, which they shall bring forth in your land, and they shall be your property. And you shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them as a possession. They are your slaves for all time. But over your brothers, the children of Israel, you do not rule with harshness, one over the other. Now, when a sojourner or a settler with you becomes rich, and your brother with him becomes poor, and sells himself to the settler or sojourner with you, or to a member of the sojourner's clan, after he has been sold, there is a right of redemption to him. One of his brothers redeem him, or his uncle's son redeems him, or anyone who is a close relative to him in his clan redeems him. Or, if he is able, then he shall redeem himself. And he shall reckon with him who brought him. The price of his release shall be according to the number of years, from the year that he was sold to him under the year of Jubilee, as the days of a hired servant it is with him. If there are yet many years, according to them, he repays the price of his redemption from the silver of his purchase. And if few years are left until the year of Jubilee, then he shall reckon with him, and according to his years he repays him to the price of his redemption. He is with him as a yearly hired servant, and he does not rule with harshness over him before your eyes. And if he is not redeemed in these years, then he shall be released in the year of Jubilee, he and his children with him. Because the children of Israel are servants to me, they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Mitzrayim. I am Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, your Elohim. Do not make idols for yourself, and do not put up a carved image or a pillar for yourself, and do not place a stone image in your land to bow down to it. For I am Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, your Elohim. Guard my Shabbat, and reverence my Mikdosh. I am Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. If you walk in my laws and guard my commands and shall do them, then I shall give you rain in its season, and the land shall yield its crops, and the trees of the field yield their fruit. And your threshing shall last till the time of the grape harvest, and the grape harvest shall last till the time of the sowing. And you shall eat your bread until you have enough, and shall dwell in your land safely. And I shall give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and no one make you afraid. And I shall clear the land of evil beasts, and not let the sword go through your land. And you shall pursue your enemies, and they shall fall by the sword before you. And 5 of you shall pursue 100, and 100 of you pursue 10,000. And your enemies shall fall by the sword before you. And I shall turn to you and make you bear fruit, and shall increase you, and shall establish my covenant with you. And you shall eat the old supply, and clear out the old because of the new. And I shall put my Mishkan in your midst, and my being shall not reject you. And I shall walk in your midst, and shall be your Elohim, and you shall be my people. I am Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, from being their slaves. And I have broken the bars of your yoke and made you walk upright. But if you do not obey me, and do not do all these commands, and if you reject my laws, or if your being loathes my right ruling, so that you do not do all my commands, but break my covenant, I also do this to you, and I shall appoint sudden alarm over you, wasting disease and inflammation, destroying the eyes and consuming the life. And you shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it. And I shall turn my face against you, and you shall be smitten before your enemies. And those who hate you shall rule over you, and you shall flee when no one pursues you. And after all these, if you do not obey me, then I shall punish you 7 times more for your sins. And I shall break the pride of your power, and shall make your heavens like iron, and your earth like bronze. And your strength shall be spent in vain, and your land not yield its crops, nor the trees of the land yield their fruit. And if you walk contrary to me, and refuse to obey me, I shall bring on you 7 times more plagues according to your sins, and send wild beasts among you, which shall bereave you of your children. And I shall cut off your livestock, and make you few in number, and your highway shall be deserted. And if you are not instructed by me by these, but walk contrary to me, then I shall walk contrary to you, and I myself shall smite you 7 times for your sins. And I shall bring against you sword, executing the vengeance of my covenant. And you shall gather together in your cities, and I shall send pestilence among you. And you shall be given into your hand of your enemies. When I have cut off your supply of bread, 10 women shall break you bread in one oven, and they shall bring back to you your bread by weight, and you shall eat and not be satisfied. And if in spite of this you do not obey me, but walk contrary to me, then I shall walk contrary to you in wrath, and I myself shall punish you 7 times for your sins. And you shall eat the flesh of your sons, eat the flesh of your daughters. And I shall destroy your high places, and cut down your sun pillars, and put your carcasses on the carcasses of your idols, and my being shall loathe you. And I shall turn your cities into ruins, and lay your mikdashim to waste, and not smell your sweet fragrances. And I shall lay the land waste, and be your enemies who dwell in it, and shall be astonished at it. And I shall scatter you among the Gentiles, and draw you out a sword after you. And your land shall be desert, and your cities ruins. And the land enjoy its Sabbath, as long as it lies waste, and you are in your enemy's land. Then the land would rest and enjoy its Sabbaths. As long as it lies waste, it rests for the time it did not rest on your Sabbaths when you dwelt in it. And as for those of you who are left, I shall send faintness into their hearts in the lands of their enemies, and the sound of a shaken leaf shall cause them to flee. And they shall flee as though retreating from a sword, and they shall fall when no one pursues. And they shall stumble over one another as from before a sword when no one pursues. And you shall be unable to stand before your enemies, and you shall perish among the Gentiles, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. And those of you who are left rot away in their wickedness in your enemy's land, and also in their father's wickedness rot away with them. But if they confess their wickedness in the wickedness of their fathers, with their trespass in which they trespassed against me, and that they also have walked contrary to me, and that I also have walked contrary to them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies, if their uncircumcised heart is then humbled, and they accept the punishment of their wickedness, then I shall remember my covenant with Yaakov, and also my covenant with Yitzchak, and also my covenant with Abraham, and remember the land. For the land was abandoned by them, and enjoying its Sabbaths while lying waste without them. And they were paying for their wickedness, because they rejected my right rulings, and because their being loathed my laws. And yet for all this, when they are in the land of their enemies, I shall not reject them, nor shall I loathe them, so as to destroy them and break my covenant with them. For I am Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, their Elohim. Then I shall remember for their sake the covenant of the ancestors, whom I brought out of the land of Mitzrayim, before the eyes of the nations, to be their Elohim. I am Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. These are the laws and the right rulings of the Torah, which Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh made between himself and the children of Israel on Mount Sinai by the hand of Moshe. And Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When a man separates a vow by your evaluation of lives unto Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, when your evaluation is of a male from 20 years old up to 60 years old, then your evaluation shall be 50 shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place. And if it is a female, then your evaluation shall be 30 shekels. And if from 5 years old up to 20 years old, then your evaluation for a male shall be 20 shekels, and for a female 10 shekels. And if from a month old up to 5 years old, then your evaluation for a male shall be 5 shekels of silver, and for a female your evaluation shall be 3 shekels of silver. And if from 60 years old and above it is a male, then your evaluation shall be 15 shekels, and for a female 10 shekels. But if he is too poor to pay your evaluation, then he shall present himself before the Kohen, and the Kohen shall lay a value on him, according to the ability of him who vowed. The Kohen shall value him. And if it is a beast of which they bring an offering to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, all such given to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh is Kodesh. He is not to replace it or exchange it, good for spoiled or spoiled for good. And if he at all exchanges beast for beast, then both it and the one exchanged for it is Kodesh. And if it is an unclean beast of which they do not bring an offering to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, then he shall present the beast before the Kohen, and the Kohen shall value it, whether it is good or spoilt, according to your evaluation. O Kohen, so it shall be. But if he indeed redeems it, then he shall add 1/5 to your evaluation. And when a man kodash his house to be kodesh to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, then the Kohen shall value it, whether it is good or spoiled. As the Kohen values it, so it stands. And if he who is kodesh redeems it, his house, then he shall add 1/5 of silver of your evaluation to it, and it shall be his. And if a man kodesh to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh a field he owns, then your evaluation shall be according to the seed for it, a homer of barley seed at 50 shekels of silver. If he kodesh his field from the year of Jubilee, according to your evaluation it stands. But if he kodesh his field after the Jubilee, then the Kohen shall reckon to him the silver due according to the years that remain till the year of Jubilee, and it shall be deducted from your evaluation. If he who kodesh the field would redeem it, then he shall add 1/5 of the silver to your evaluation, and it shall be his. And if he does not redeem the field, or if he has sold the field to another man, it is no longer redeemed. But the field, when it is released in the Jubilee, is kodesh to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh as a dedicated field to be the possession of the Kohen. And if a man kodesh to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh a field which he has brought, which is not the field of his possession, then the Kohen shall reckon to him the amount of your evaluation up to the year of Jubilee, and he shall give your evaluation on that day, kodesh to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. In the year of Jubilee, the field returns to him from him who bought it to him, who is the possession of the land. And all your evaluations are to be according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, 20 gerahs to the shekel. However, a firstborn of the beast, which is firstborn to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, no man kodesh it, whether bull or sheep, it belongs to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. And if among the unclean beasts, then he shall ransom it according to your evaluation, and shall add 1/5 to it. If it is not redeemed, then it shall be sold according to your evaluation. However, whatever a man lays under the ban for Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh of all that he has, man and beast, or the field of his possession, is not sold or redeemed. Whatever is laid under the ban is most kodesh to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. No one under the ban under the ban among men is ransomed, but shall certainly be put to death. And all the tithe of the land, of the seed of the land, or of the fruit of the tree, belongs to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. It is Kodesh to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. If a man indeed redeems any of his tithes, he adds 1/5 to it, and the entire tithe of the herd and of the flock and all of that passes under the rod. The 10th one is Kodesh to Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. He does not inquire whether it is good or spoiled, nor does he exchange it. And if he exchanges it at all, then both it and the one exchanged for it are Kodesh. It is not redeemed. These are the commands which Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh commanded Moshe for the children of Israel on Mount Sinai. Hallel Yah.